What's up, everyone? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a good day. As always, we're gonna be jumping into some SCP videos here today. We're gonna be checking one out here from the Vulcan. This is gonna be SCP-4307, Electro-Marine Praetorian Euclid Predatory Radioactive SCP. So looking forward to jumping into this one. Very interesting title. Kind of reminds me of Godzilla. They're doing some kind of, Godzilla SCP here or something like that. I don't know, but that's just what comes to my mind. But anyway, links will be down in the description as always to the original video without my commentary interaction and to the Vulcan's channel. Please do me a favor, click those links if you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a like. And if you have not subbed to the Vulcan already, what are you doing? Give the man a sub. Makes a lot of great content. If you enjoy videos, go show some support. If you'd like to join us when we do these reactions live, there is a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I offer. Get early access to videos, priority any kind of reaction requests, etc., etc. So if you want to take your support to the next level, love to have you guys come in here and hang out and join us as we do our live discussions. Yeah, check that out. With all that said, let's jump into this. Again, this is going to be SCP-4307 by the Vulcan. Monitor up. Sounds good. Let's go. A little bit louder.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-4307. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-4307 instances are kept in a reinforced aquatic containment chamber filled with water treated to replicate the Barents Sea. One side of each chamber wall is to be coated with a lead plating, and X-ray emitters are to be installed in 2 corners of the chamber with the purpose of being activated once a week to feed the SCP-4307 colony.
Each side of the chamber wall is to be coated with a lead plating and X-ray emitters. Huh. So is this thing like able to somehow... I mean, I assume because the title says radioactive, then you'd have lead in there to kind of, insulate the radioactivity. But I wonder what the X-ray emitters are there for. If it's like, does this thing cloak itself in some kind of way, and that's the only way you can see them is by X-rays? Like, or is that like, does it absorb the X-ray radiation? Like use it as food somehow?
Vegetation inside the chamber is to be maintained once every 3 weeks by D-Class personnel equipped with reinforced diving suits. Description: SCP-4307 is the designation for a group of 27 entities belonging to the extinct Nothosaurus genus. The organisms are 4 meters long on average, although some specimens have been recorded reaching 5 to 7 meters in length. SCP-4307 specimens feed off of common sea life, primarily consuming fish. However, specimens have been observed hunting larger prey, including animals larger than themselves.
Interesting.
SCP-4307 specimens are capable of emitting electromagnetic pulses through an organ located near the brain. Composition of this organ includes a high concentration of electrolytes. The pulses are primarily used to incapacitate possible predators, but are additionally capable of temporarily deactivating electrical devices.
I mean, yeah, any kind of submersible or even ships or whatever, if it should happen to get close into the surface and use one of these pulses while it's hunting something, yeah, shut them down and just be set adrift. That could cause some problems while you're at sea.
SCP-4307 instances were observed feeding on radiation from the sunken K-278 compsomolates during the initial recovery of SCP-4307. Testing indicated that depending on the type and amount of radiation absorbed, the intensity and type of electromagnetic pulses changes. See SCP-4307 radiation testing. How SCP-4307 is able to survive these pulses and close proximity to radiation without any repercussions is unknown. SCP-4307's Triassic ancestors seemingly developed this organ to counter the sudden appearance of sharks,
Interesting.
the electrical discharges being weak enough to disrupt a shark's senses.
Now, I could be very wrong. I don't know about the evolution of sharks, but to my knowledge, sharks are one of the oldest species on the planet, and I think even predate a lot of like Triassic period creatures. But maybe there was some kind of specific like maybe a megalodon or something like that, some kind of specific shark breed that evolved that started hunting the species down. I don't know, but that does seem interesting that, you know, they're getting kind of into the evolution, that it created this defense specifically for, yeah, dealing with sharks and other potential predators.
Stunning it. SCP-4307 instances do not perceive humans as a source of food and will generally ignore them, although several cases of playful interactions have been noted. However, SCP-4307 instances have been known to lash out using their jaws if feeling threatened. It is unknown how SCP-4307 managed to survive our time period, as no further fossils of Nothosauridae were found following the Triassic period. Foundation paleozoologists suggest the possibility of the SCP-4307 colony becoming frozen in a secluded ice cave near the end of the Triassic period, somehow managing to survive through multiple extinction events.
I mean, if that's the case, right? Like, if they're able to survive in extreme cold like that, like being frozen and then essentially being thawed out and okay, then, I mean, that I would think they would be deemed for further study, right? In cryogenics and stuff like that, right? Because to my understanding about cryogenics is like, they've had success with smaller species, but like the larger the species is, it becomes like exponentially more difficult to keep, like, I guess, the cells from breaking down or whatever, and during the freezing process. So having like a large animal like this that could survive like that could lead to some interesting discoveries.
Addendum 4307-1. SCP-4307 was discovered in May of 1989 following reports from the Foundation's Russian branch signaling the sudden disappearance of the K-278 consomolates in the Barents Sea. 2 other submarines are believed to have been sunk by SCP-4307 instances, K-129 Minerve and the USS Scorpion, both during the 1960s. It is currently theorized that SCP-4307 instances were attempting to feed on radiation from their nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
Foundation personnel theorize that the sudden flaring of high-energy radiation caused by nuclear bomb tests in 1947 awoke a colony of SCP-4307 that had been dormant for centuries. The colony then made its way to the Barents Sea, where it was subsequently discovered.
So, I mean, yeah, if that's the case, I mean, they've said earlier in this that it can feed off of, you know, fish and stuff as well, but apparently they also absorb radiation. Maybe if they absorb enough radiation, it can intensify the electromagnetic pulses they put out, or, you know, maybe they're just able to use that as some other kind of food source. Maybe that's why they're able to survive, you know, like you go to Godzilla vs. Kong, maybe, you know, they got frozen the Arctic somewhere near the North Pole where there's more radiation, and, you know, maybe that's how they were able to survive in the ice. Something like that, you know? Maybe it is kind of like one of those things.
SCP-4307, Radiation Testing. Experiment Log 4307-1. Radiation, Ultraviolet. Test Subject, SCP-4307-8. Test Record, SCP-4307-8 was introduced into the testing chamber and subsequently exposed to a high concentration of UVA radiation through 2 blacklights. After 45 minutes, SCP-4307-8 started to display bioluminescence around the head and neck. A school of fish was then released into the testing chamber. Upon SCP-4307-8 taking notice of their presence, it began charging up a pulse. Upon release, the pulse manifested as a blue ray, fatally electrocuting fish in contact with it. Testing
Like this. I'm just getting Godzilla kaiju vibes from this. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
Ended after 20 minutes of SCP-4307-8 repeating this behavior. Notes: after being removed from the testing chamber, SCP-4307-8 lost its bioluminescence after 2 days.
Interesting.
Experiment log 4307, 2. Radiation, X-ray. Test subject, SCP-4307, 21. Test record: SCP-4307-21 was introduced into the testing chamber. Shortly after, it was exposed to X-ray radiation. After an hour of exposure, SCP-4307-21's skin became translucent with the organ located on the head glowing, akin to a Melanocetus johnsoni, humpback anglerfish. A school of fish was then released into the testing chamber. Once noticed by SCP-4307-21, the specimen released a pulse which could not be detected visually. After 5 minutes, fish that were hit by the pulse turned translucent and stopped moving. A fish was captured for analysis while the rest were eaten by SCP-4307-21. The test was ended approximately 10 minutes later.
That's pretty fascinating. So it's able to absorb various kinds of radiation and that utilize that various kind of, like, whatever organ it has or whatever that absorbs it, it's able to use that kind of radiation in whatever pulse that it throws out to deter predators and, or in the case that they're showing here, hunt down its prey and kill them. And it has different effects. So that's pretty fascinating. So I wonder what gamma radiation would do, right? Like some kind of like extremely deadly form of radiation. What would it be able to absorb it? And if so, like, what would it would probably be some kind of crazy, gamma ray radiation beam that would be very deadly.
Notes: analysis of the fish showed that the part of the brain that controls the locomotive functions of the fish was damaged, rendering the fish unable to move. SCP-4307-21 lost its translucence shortly after being removed from the testing chamber.
There we go, gamma radiation.
Experiment log 4307, 3. Radiation, gamma. Test subject, SCP-4307, 15. Test record: SCP-4307-15 was introduced into the testing chamber and subsequently exposed to a small concentration of gamma radiation. After 30 minutes had passed, readings showed that all radiation was absent from the chamber. A school of fish was then released into the testing chamber with the goal of triggering a pulse from SCP-4307-15, as had been demonstrated in previous tests. This resulted in a small-scale nuclear blast, later identified as an amplified nuclear electromagnetic pulse, irradiating
Yikes.
or destroying everything within a 50-meter radius. In addition, the explosion killed around staff members and irradiated many others who were caught in the radius.
Note to self, don't expose these things to gamma radiation. I mean, I figured as much would be something. I didn't think it would be kind of more of like a nuclear explosion. I figured it would be kind of more of like an actual like Godzilla atomic breath kind of beam being, it said, whatever I don't remember the first kind of radiation they exposed it to. I think they just said it was some kind of general radiation, right? And is that we're at 7 minutes 38 seconds? What kind of radiation? X-ray is that one. Yeah, what was the first kind of radiation? Ultraviolet. Okay. So yeah, I mean, ultraviolet radiation, it shot out some kind of, beam or whatever that could disrupt them. Its prey. X-ray kind of did something similar but different, and it disabled the parts of the brain in its prey that would allow it to function, like move, essentially. So I was thinking it would just be more of like, yeah, like some kind of Godzilla atomic breath ray thing, but no, it's a giant nuclear explosion. Alrighty.
The explosion killed around staff members and irradiated many others who were caught in the radius. SCP-4307-15's remains were found lacking its head and most of the neck as a result of its proximity to the explosion.
Yeah.
Notes: testing has been suspended following the incident with SCP-4307-15. The effects resulting from exposing specimens to radiation are too unpredictable, and quite frankly, further testing isn't worth the risk of losing more instances or personnel. 05. Addendum Journal 4307. Yevgeny Vanin, commanding officer of the K-278 Komsomolets at the time, held a logbook during the lifetime of the submarine. A few entries preceding the sinking of the K-278 Komsomolets were written. Relevant and/or noteworthy excerpts have been translated from Russian and transcribed for analysis. Page 350.
30/03/1989. As per orders of the motherland, we went to patrol around Norway on the lookout for any American submarines. We arrived in the Norwegian Sea around 0200 and have been patrolling since.
Page 353.
02/04/1989. We've been roaming the Norwegian Sea and its surrounding seas for 3 days now. Radar operator caught a large signal encircling the submarine at around 2200. I dismissed it as predatorial sea life, mistaking us for a dead whale.
Page 356.
05/04/1989. Something's attacked us. All electronics are out and we cannot reach the motherland through our radios. The motors also refuse to start back up. Others damn things destroyed our equipment without direct contact is unbeknown to me. The crew is panicking, but I don't blame them. They are young, they are afraid of death. If the mechanics somehow manage to restore our communications, I'll send an SOS to our leaders requesting immediate help.
So, I mean, either one or maybe a pod or colony of these things, you know, thought the submarine was either a predator invading its territory, or they thought it was prey and were, you know, trying to disable it, need it, is what it sounds like to me.
Page 358. Final entry.
07/04/1989. At around 1500, communications were restored after 2 days of darkness and living on rations. The commander managed to send an SOS before what appeared to be an electric shock fried our electronics yet again. At 2000, strange sounds were heard from the outside, ramming into the ship. A fire broke out in the ensuing panic and the commander was wounded. After recovering the logbook, I and several other crewmen went for the single lifeboat. It was utter chaos. Men were fighting each other to obtain a spot. I managed to slip by the crowd and reach the lifeboat, and we departed shortly after due to the fire spreading rapidly. When I ejected, I saw a glimpse of those creatures. They looked like reptiles, but something about them was off. Something I can't explain. 2 hours after we reached the surface, a Russian boat that heard our SOS arrived and took us aboard. End of log.
So more than likely, they had absorbed some kind of radiation that was being given off by the submarines, and it changed them in some way, and they looked strange. Maybe made them aggressive too. I mean, you could probably, I would think that depending on the type of radiation they absorb, could also change their behavior. You know, maybe make them more aggressive, make them more docile, etc. You know, who knows? But it wouldn't surprise me.
Addendum 4307-2. An image accompanies the last entry of the logbook, presumed to have been made by its author. SCP-4307. Sea Monitor. This concludes today's lecture. Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Dr. Miller. All right, there we go. There we go. That was SCP-4307, Electro-Marine Praetorian, a Euclid predatory radioactive SCP by the Vulgar. Say that 10 times fast. Interesting SCP. I mean, it sounds, essentially, it's some kind of amphibious or aquatic dinosaur that managed to survive its extinction but has somehow evolved to be able to absorb various kinds of radiation and then weaponize that radiation to disable its prey and or predators, you know, that could come after it. So it's fascinating. Like they said, ultraviolet radiation, it created some kind of beam that disabled the fish, and then it was able to eat it. X-rays, it put out some kind of, again, pulse that disabled parts of the brain of its prey, kept it from being able to move. And then when they exposed it to gamma radiation, it basically created a nuclear explosion, and you know, its head blew up as well, kind of a situation. So yeah, it would be interesting if they had kept going with some more experiments to see what various kinds of radiation, excuse me, the various kinds of radiation, and you know, what kind of effects it could have. Because I mean, it would just be interesting to see and learn. I mean, just think of the ideas of, if you have this creature that's able to absorb gamma radiation and not die from it, right? And then is able to not only, you know, absorb it, but then utilize it in ways, or any kind of various radiation, like what kind of, you know, technologies could be learned from that. And then again, like I had said earlier, you know, you have some kind of species that seemingly they theorize, if it's true, the theory were to have been correct, somehow, you know, got frozen in ice and survived for hundreds of millions of years, potentially in frozen ice, you know, in cryostasis, essentially. So, I mean, that could lead to some kind of breakthroughs for, you know, and cryogenics and those kind of studies. So I mean, it sounds like this SCP would have a lot of practical, you know, things to potentially learn from it that could be applied in a lot of different ways. You know, I mean, just think again, with it able to absorb radiation, you know, maybe they could make better, safer, more efficient, you know, nuclear reactors based on things they learn from this, you know, ways that it's able to absorb and utilize radiation, you know, etc. So anyway, fascinating video. But yeah, like I said, links down below in the description to the original video. Excuse me, the original video without my commentary and reaction into the Vulcan's channel. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, go over there and give it a like. And if you enjoy the Vulcan's content, make sure you are subbed to the man. Give him some support. He definitely deserves it. Makes a lot of great content. If you'd like to join us when we do these reactions live, we'd love to have you guys come in here and hang out and join our discussions. There's a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description. You can get you know, early access videos, priority requests, and the kind of reactions you might have me do. There's gonna be some other things I'm gonna be adding soon to the various membership tiers. But if you want to take your support to the channel to the next level, check those out and see if that would have any interest for you. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider leaving a like and a sub. It helps me and the channel grow. We'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you guys are having